Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990's Represent. We're starting out our sixth cycle of 1998 with an album. In this episode, we're taking a look at Dizzy Up the Girl by Goo Goo Dolls. Um, had a couple really big hits on it, probably most famously Iris. I remember that song being like everywhere back when this album came out, or even before the album came out, because we'll get to the release date and all that when we get to the actual notes of the album. But I didn't listen to this album right when it came out. I think I was familiar with a couple of the singles, primarily Iris, and I think maybe Broadway, maybe a couple others. But I remember really, I didn't listen to. I think it was called "A Boy Named Goo," which I think was the previous album from the maybe 1994, maybe 1995. But I remember like that album having a really big hit with. I think the song was called "Name," and that was a. I remember like seeing that music video on MTV pretty frequently. And then this album came out, and I think this is their most popular album. Definitely because it has Iris on it, and that song kind of just blew up in 1998. Was kind of everywhere. But like I said, didn't listen to the album initially when it was brand new, but I did eventually get around to listening to it, and I enjoyed it. I kind of think it's I can't really compare it to their other albums in their discography because I don't think I've listened to a complete aside from this one a complete Goo Goo Dolls album. I would have to go through and check my stuff, but I don't think I listened to A Boy Named Goo or any of their other stuff. I am familiar with some of their singles off of those albums, but had never listened to a complete album before listening to this one in its entirety fairly recently. So I can't really say like how it compares to their other albums. And the thing about this series and even the 1998 series is a lot of the stuff that we cover here is stuff that I've seen in the past um, when it came out, when it was brand new. A lot of times it's us taking a look at some of this stuff for the first time. So this is kind of, I've listened to this album, I think, twice overall. So I'm still fairly new to it. So this is one of those episodes where it's looking at something that more recently and not have listened, wasn't really listening to it when it came out. But I have my notes here about the album. We're going to get to these, and then we'll get to the track list and all that stuff. All right, so here we go. All right, so let's see here. Dizzy Up the Girl was first released September 22nd, 1998. This is the sixth studio album by Goo Goo Dolls. And the song Iris was kind of blew up from when it was released. It was released as a single, I think, like in the spring. And then the album obviously got released toward the end of September of that year. But the reason that song kind of blew up was I think released as a single, but then also was part of the City of Angels soundtrack, and that song just kind of took off due to that movie. I actually haven't seen City of Angels. I should probably watch that at some point. But yeah, that song was featured in the movie, and then kind of just took off from there. There's some other singles off this album include obviously Iris, Slide, Dizzy, Black Balloon, and Broadway. So Broadway is the other one I was somewhat familiar with because I remember hearing that back on the radio when it came out. And I think Broadway might actually be my favorite song on the album. Iris is really good, but I think Iris is just kind of it got played so much. I think kind of got tired of it. So I definitely prefer I think Broadway, the song Broadway, to that. This is their most successful album, obviously, kind of piggybacking off of the success of Iris. I think and Iris ended up staying on top of the charts for 18 weeks when it came out, so pretty good there. And then the album has sold over 5 million copies, so basically 5 times platinum. Pretty good sales, obviously, like piggybacking off of Iris there. The reviews for the album when I was doing my research for this are kind of in the middle of the road. I think some reviewers were kind of saying that was a little bit more mainstream, so it maybe was alienating some of their like more hardcore audience. So this album you could see as a turning point for them. obviously becoming more successful, but then also maybe, you know, maybe selling out a little bit, if you want to call it that, or going more mainstream, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to look at the reviews, and then we're going to get into our track list here. Let me just see if I have it loaded up. I had to bring it back up, so I did have it up a second ago. But anyway, here we go. So the reviews here are kind of in the middle, like I said earlier. AllMusic has it at a 4 out of 5, while it only gets looks like a 2.5 out of 4 from the Boston Phoenix. The Encyclopedia of Popular Music actually has it at a 5 out of 5. Entertainment Weekly has it at a B-. LA Times has it at a 2 out of 4. Q gave it a 2 out of 5. Rolling Stone comes in with a 3 out of 5. Looks like a 2.5 out of 5 for the Rolling Stone Album Guide. Spin has it at looks like a 6 out of 10. And USA has it at a 2.5 out of 4. So again, kind of in the middle on the reviews. But the length of the album here, we're going to get to our track list now, is about 45 minutes and 27 seconds. Again, between 35 and 45 minutes is kind of like the sweet spot for me for albums. So it's the perfect kind of length. And then we have 13 tracks on the album. So track 1 is Dizzy. It's pretty good. Track 2 is Slide. And then we go into track 3. My favorite track on the album probably is Broadway. Just really, really like Broadway, and I did not know. I knew Broadway was a song by them, but I didn't know it was off of this album until I listened to the album in its entirety. So yeah, track 3 was Broadway. Track 4 is January Friend. Track 5 is Black Balloon. Track 6 is Bulletproof. Track 6, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is Am I Gone? So A-M-I-G-O-N-E, so Am I Gone, all in one word. That's track 7. Track 8 is All Eyes on Me. Track 9 is Full Forever. Track 10 is Acoustic Number 3. Track 11, probably the biggest track on the album, at least commercially speaking, is, again, track 11 is Iris. Like I said, blew up, kind of was everywhere in 1998 due to City of Angels. Let me actually see when that single came out. So the single for Iris was released, April 1st, 1998. So basically, April through September, they kind of rode that wave, and then the actual full album came out toward the end of September. So again, track 11 is Iris. Track 12 is Extra Pale. And then track 13 is Hate This Place. So again, 13 tracks, about 45 minutes in length. And I don't really know what number score I would give it. I kind of would be a little more generous. I think maybe a 3.5 out of 5, maybe a 4. But yeah, I think that the singles off the album, specifically Broadway and Iris, are really good. The other singles, I think Slide and Dizzy, were also pretty solid. And then the deep cuts aren't bad either on this album. So I think it's overall pretty decent. I need to listen to some of their other albums to kind of get a better comparison. I need to go back and listen to A Boy Named Goo and albums like that. Because I really know or remember really liking Name, the song off that album. So I need to revisit some of those albums, or not revisit, but actually just go and listen to some of those, and then I can make a comparison to this one. But overall, I think this album is pretty good. But that is going to do it for this video. We'll be back in a few days with a movie from 1998. No idea what that's going to be just yet, as I've covered a lot of the other movies on the 1998 series, and then all the other cycles on this series. So I'm kind of having to think outside the box. Maybe we'll see what I can come up with. And then after that, we'll be coming back with either a computer or video game before jumping into 1999 again, and then starting back over with 1990. So again, that's going to do it for now. So thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.